The objectives of the game is for your warband, which is a maximum of 5 miniatures, to collect spice crystals and then take them off the board. Each miniature or character in your warband starts the game with 3 lives, and this is where the whiteboard pen comes in handy and the plastic sheet. During the game, normally the only thing that changes is the amount of life on a character, unless they got a consumable item which you can just write in. So there's my 5 characters, they've all got 3 lives each. Every game lasts for 10 game turns. Those game turns are not my go, your go, as you would get in traditional wargaming. Each game turn involves an active player and a reactive player. Now this is decided at the beginning of each game turn by rolling for initiative. If you're the active player, if you win the initiative, you can choose to be the active player. The reactive player will get a +1 to the next initiative roll. So in game turn 1, I'm the active player, my opponent will get a +1 on the initiative roll at the beginning of game turn 2. Now this can vary during the game. There are certain bonuses that will boost this up, and the maximum you can get is 6. But before we go that far, let's talk about generating action dice. So as the active player, you get to generate action dice. Every action in the game will cost an action dice, or sometimes 2 action dice, unless it's a free action. There are normal actions, heroic actions, free actions, and special actions which you purchase at the end of each game. For the basics here, I will show you how to generate an action dice. So it's game turn 1, I'm the active player. I will pick a model to activate. I shall pick this yellow model here. I shall check on my character sheet that it has 3 lives. I now roll 3 dice. If it had 2 lives, I would roll 2 dice. The magic number I'm looking for is 3+. So that one's good, and that one's good. A 2 or a 1 are bad. That one is a potential reaction dice, and that will go off to my opponent. We'll come to reaction dice in a minute. Now that I've got 2 action dice, I can spend the action dice. I can only spend 1 action dice at a time, unless the rule says I can spend 2. I must declare what I'm going to do. So I should get a tape measure out. So normal actions will cost 1 action dice. And a heroic action, which we'll come to later on, will cost 1 action dice and a test. You have to make an heroic action test. And a free action doesn't cost any dice. Special actions, each special action is different. You will have to check the dialogue box to find out what each one does and how you use it. So normal actions are move, range attack, close combat attack, pick up, which you'll need to do to pick up a crystal, pause, and void. These are your normal actions. You can make any number of those actions as long as you've got dice to do it. So if you wanted to shoot twice, you could shoot twice, or 3 times, depending on your dice. You can move as many times as you like, as long as you've got a dice to do it. So each model, when they start, will have a speed of 6. A speed of 6 means they can move 6 inches. To make a range attack, you must declare it. It will cost you 1 dice to do so. To make a normal action close combat will cost you another additional dice. To pick up an item, such as a spice crystal, will cost you 1 dice. Void is where you basically void the dice. You do not use it if you don't want to. It's still classed as an action. And the last normal action is pause, where you can pause a model's activation, it will cost you 1 action dice, and then move to another model and activate that model. And at any time you can then go back to the model you've paused. Free actions, there is free action dodge, free action prone. If you get a target, if you're the target of a range attack and that range attack misses, you can make a free action dodge, which means you can dodge up to 3 inches in any direction, but you can't dodge towards the model that was attacking you. And prone basically means you're prone and you lay down. There are bonuses to being on the ground and disadvantages to being on the ground. Heroic actions, and we need a, can we have a demo sheet? Ross, have you got one?
I believe I have.
Yay!
Ta-da!
Heroic actions. At the end of the game, your team will level up. Each model that survives the injury table will level up. So we're going to see here, level 4. So if you went, all teams start at level 0, but after the game you will automatically level up, and it means you get to fill in one of these boxes. And these are your heroic actions. You have a heroic action climb, which means you can climb up to 4 inches. Heroic action duck and dive, which is an evasion move. As such, it makes it harder for your opponent to hit you with a range attack at the end of it. Shoot on the move, that means you can move your normal speed and shoot at a target that you can see at any point during that movement. Hit and run means it's the same as shoot on the move, but it's a close combat, so if you run past a hostile model, you can hit it as you're running past. Attacking jump is 2 actions in one, really. It's a jump, you can jump up to 4 inches. Attacking, you can jump across a gap of 4 inches, and if you can see a hostile model, you can shoot it. Charge, there's 2 ways of getting into close combat. One is to walk by your speed, and the other is to charge. A charge puts 3 inches on your normal speed, and it will allow you to attack the model for free, as where walking means you move into close combat and it's already cost you an action dice. Sneak reduces your movement speed by 2 inches, sorry, but you cannot be reacted against, and we'll come back to that in a minute. And then we've got sprint, which is a move action, heroic move action. It puts 3 inches on your normal speed. So in this case, this guy's got a speed of 5. That would be 6 inches. 8 inches. And then we've got distracting shot, which comes much later in the campaign, but it's ideally you can do a distraction shot, and every model within 12 inches will turn around to have a look at where that shot went, and then you can charge them in the back because you get bonuses for hitting someone in the back. How a heroic action test works is you declare what you're going to do. So for this one, we're going to try a sneak, and I will just grab another token, a non-generic token, as it's Christmas and New Year. We use one of those. I'm going to declare a sneak, and if we look down on this character here, we see that they've got 3 boxes filled in next to sneak. So for demonstration purposes, we're going to say this character is going to sneak. You must declare what you're going to do. So I'm going to declare to my opponent I'm sneaking, and I'm going to sneak to there. That's my end of action location. We use this to stop people saying I'm going to sneak to there they fail the sneak roll, and then they decide that they wasn't going to go that way, they were going to go that way because there's more advantage to being further away from where they want it to be. Now I've declared it, I now need to make a heroic action test. I spend my 1 dice, and then I roll the dice, and what I'm looking for is 5+. And of course I've rolled a 1, which is always the way, right? So we'll try that again. Declared my action, because 1s are really bad, we'll come back to that. I've declared my action, I've declared where I'm going, I'm going to spend my action dice to do it. And now I need to make an heroic action test.
Another 1.
And if it's another 1, they're going in the bin. It's a 2. And I'm looking for 5+. But because I've got 1, 2, 3 boxes filled in, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, which makes it successful. And the model will go there and end its action. That's how heroic action tests work. You'll notice before I mentioned about having 5 tokens. These are willpower tokens. Willpower tokens, when at the start of the game, every one will start with 5, or 1 for every model you deploy. You only get your willpower tokens back when you become the active player. And if you've got a model that's dead already, you will only get 4 tokens back. Willpower tokens are used mainly for boosting a dice roll, which can be a normal action range attack, or normal action close combat attack, or an heroic action test. However, there are in the rules some other instances where you may need to use one of these. So for this example, I am going to try sprint. We've activated this model, we've rolled up a couple of action dice. I'm going to sprint. Now, this model, the green one, has a speed of 8, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. A sprint is the model's speed, which is 8, so it's 8 inches, plus another 3 inches, which makes it 11 inches. Once again, you must declare that you're doing it, and I'm going to say I'm going to sprint over to this Christmas parcel here. I then spend my action dice, knowing that I haven't got any ranks in sprint. I'm going to need a 5 on this dice roll, which is a bit much. So I'm going to declare that I'm going to use a willpower token. You must declare this before you roll the dice. Once you declare it and use it, it's gone. Now, that will boost my dice roll result by +1. So I'm now looking for a 4. It's a 6. So that's 4+. There. Jobs are good. As it happens, a 6 is a bonus. You'll find during the game that 6s will give you a bonus and 1s will give you a disadvantage. If you roll a 6 while making a heroic action test, you get to make that action for free, so it hasn't cost you an action dice. That's the bonus. However, if you roll a 1, something bad happens. The model would have stopped 3 inches short of where it was going and fallen over, and that's not the same as prone. Being knocked down is not the same as prone. But the 1 is an epic fail and will also give your opponent, the reactive player, a free reaction when they stop laughing at you. Okay, back. So that's how willpower works. Willpower is a resource that you can spend all of it and then find you're not going to get any back for a couple of turns, or you may find that it's always coming back to you. It's how you use it, it's a judgment, it is a gamble. Do it. So going back to our action dice generation, the green character's got 3 lives, unless you'll roll 3 dice. That's a bad one. Those two are good. In fact, a 6 is even better than good. 6s are always good. That 6 will allow me to, if I want to roll another dice, which I'm going to try. It's a 3. So even though that's gone to my opponent as a potential reaction dice, that 6 has let me roll another dice and has given me the 3. So that gives me 3 actions. All models generate action dice on a 3+. One model in your team will be the leader. In this case, it's the red base model. He will generate action dice on a 2+, because he is special. 3 lives, 3 dice. Those two are good. That one's bad. But the leader does have an area of influence, which is what we call a leader bubble. And the leader bubble is 6 inches plus the leader's level. So on this one here, level 4, it would be 10 inches. About 10 inches. Any model within 10 inches, when generating action dice, can, if it fails 1 or 2, and it's within the leader bubble, can re-roll 1 dice. So that one is now a 3 and they're all good. That re-roll affects the leader as well, because he's always considered to be within his own leader bubble. Your starting miniature leader will only be level 0, so his area of influence is only 6 inches. If it's level 10, it will be 16 inches. So as they level up, the better they become. Right, so let's go back and let's try and get some reaction dice. So I'm going to activate the yellow model. I've checked the sheet, it's got 3 lives. He's within the leader bubble. So, and they're all good. So I've got a 6, let's try, and that's a 1. Put that back to 3. I'm not going to use let's put the leader over there. This is a potential reaction dice which will go to your opponent, and Ross will show you how to generate reaction dice.
Okay, so John's very kindly given me a dice.
Do you want me to hold the camera?
I think I got it. And I actually managed to keep it.
So when a potential reaction dice goes to your opponent, they are looking for 3+. If they get a 3+, it goes into their reaction pool. And they can use those dice the same way you can as the active player to make actions, but their reactions against a model that made the previous action. Unless it's the end of the game turn, and we'll come to that when it happens. For example, Ross has now got that 1 reaction dice. We'll change the colour of that to something else. Red, not to confuse things. And I've got 3 actions. So I'll declare my first action, which is going to be a move, 6 inches. I'm going to move up to this spice crystal. Ross, do you want to make a reaction?
I would love to.
Ross would then spend that dice to make a reaction against that model. Now those reactions pretty much are nearly all the same as your normal, free and heroic actions. So he could, if he wanted to, if he had line of sight and within range, shoot that model. He could charge it. He could sprint towards it. He can even pick up a spice crystal if a model, one of his models, is in base contact with it. It's a reaction against that model. Not any of these models, not this model, because they didn't make the previous action. If Ross had rolled a 6 with his potential reaction dice, not only does he get a reaction dice, but the initiative count will go up. So at the beginning of the next turn, he will get a +2 to his 1d6 initiative roll. If that was to fail, that would go up again to 3. So that's why it only goes up to 6, because 6 is the maximum you can ever have against one single D6 dice roll. Ross has got a number of reaction dice for this example. And I've activated this model, and I've activated that one, and I've activated this one, and I've activated that one. I've just got this guy left. He's still got 3 lives. Here's my leader. I can re-roll that one. And it's wrong, so it goes off to Ross. He'll grab another dice. It's a 6. The initiative dice will go up. I've got 2 actions. Ross has got all of these because he didn't spend them. He decided not to. I'm going to spend 1 to move up to there. Ross still decides that he's not going to react. So I will spend the last one to pick up that spice crystal. All of my models have now been activated, and we're into the end phase of the game turn. Because Ross still has action dice to reaction dice to use, he can use those dice now against any of my models. So he could attack this one, this one, this one, this one, or even that one. As where before he could only have gone for this model because this model made the previous action.